What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Blank Online here today to chat with you more about some Black Ops Cold War. But before I get any further in this video, 97% of you guys watching the video right now are not subscribed to the channel. So if you haven't done so yet, make sure you click that subscribe button to be kept up to date on everything to do with Black Ops Cold War, Warzone Season 6 and more. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Well, weekend 1 of Black Ops Cold War is done and dusted. Weekend 2 of the open beta is just around the corner with the patch notes from what's changed from weekend 1 going into weekend 2 now having been released. I'm going to go through every sort of major change that we're going to be seeing from weekend 1 moving into weekend 2, and I'm also going to talk about some changes that I personally would make myself that haven't necessarily been outlined here in the patch notes. One of the biggest changes here that have been changed due to gameplay elements is the tuning on the Duster stock attachments, which basically made people slide faster than what sliding was meant to be in the game. So they've tuned it, they've made it a little bit less crazy, I guess, hopefully, and we'll see what happens in weekend 2. We could also potentially be seeing the sliding glitch be fixed for weekend 2 as opposed to weekend 1, which is something that I'd like to see as well. It's a well-known exploit in the game, so assumedly Treyarch has some sort of fix for it, but we're going to have to see when weekend 2 rolls around. They have increased the cooldown time on the spy plane to help limit the numbers in the sky at one time. So basically, if you don't necessarily know how score streaks work in this game, every time you get a score streak, that score streak has a certain time until you can earn another one and use another one as well. Seemingly what they're doing here is they're sort of reducing the spy plane spam. I didn't necessarily notice it too much in the games that I was playing over the weekend, but obviously it was an issue that was worth sort of addressing and fixing as well. So that's going to be something to expect in weekend 2 of the open beta. They have increased the score limit in team deathmatch from 75 to 100, and they say here it's for better match pacing, which is interesting to see because there is some times where TDM and kill confirmed as well do go to the time limit rather than the score limit, mainly because people trying to prolong the game and that sort of thing, which is an effect that we've seen directly from Modern Warfare 2019. So it's interesting to see that they've done this change to increase match pacing. If anything, this potentially could decrease match pacing and make matches go a lot slower. That could be what they wanted to see here with TDM and Black Ops Cold War. I'm not necessarily too sure, but with the 75 moving to 100, again, as I said, we could potentially be seeing more sort of time limit gameplays in Black Ops Cold War moving forward in Team Deathmatch. One of the things that they have done in terms of weapon balancing is reducing the damage output of the Milano 821. The Milano was arguably the best weapon in the Black Ops Cold War beta, with the 74U and the AK-47 seeing nerfs from the previous alpha. The Milano 821 has sort of taken its place as being like one of the best guns in the game, so they've nerfed that gun. It's probably going to be a lot more balanced now, so we're just going to have to sort of wait and see if a new weapon sort of takes over, because the Milano really took over weekend 1 of the beta, really. Treyarch also did a bunch of different changes in terms of bug fixes, stability improvements, and UX changes. I'm not going to go through each and every single one. I'm actually not going to go through any of them, to be honest with you, because they're not really big changes or ones that everyone would sort of see and realize and be like, oh, thank God they changed that. I'm going to leave that up to you guys to figure it out. So I will leave in the description down below a link to the patch notes, so you can go ahead, look at it, and see exactly what has changed in terms of those things if you are so inclined to do so. In terms of weekend 2 of the open beta, we are going to be getting potentially a new level cap, so that therefore we could also be seeing a new gun. Apparently the grease gun is coming back, and well, the grease gun was in World War II, and it's going to be coming here into Black Ops Cold War, potentially in weekend 2 of the beta, if the leaks and rumors are to be believed. Now, with the level cap being increased as well, I feel like the level cap is going to be 25 for at least a day when the pre-order for Xbox One and PC beta, so the early access beta for those consoles and the open beta for PlayStation 4 goes live, so just for a day, and then afterwards the level cap will be increased. When the level cap gets increased, potentially we could be seeing more guns being added, so more things to try out and use, with the grease gun being one of them. We are also apparently going to be seeing a new map, which is called Rocker, which is apparently a large map consisting of a huge open jungle area set in the forest. And the second new map we're going to be getting is called Alpine, which is a ski resort set on the side of a mountain. Now these maps are going to be available in the fire team mode, which is basically the big 40 players split into teams of 4 game mode that they have here in Black Ops Cold War, not necessarily 2 new 6v6 maps, which makes sense because if you're going to add another big map, it's going to not make sense because all the other maps for 6v6 are basically big 12v12 maps anyway. That's sort of all the changes really. They are bringing Dirty Bomb, which is a new game mode that they're bringing to the weekend 2 of the open beta, which is a fire team game mode as well. So fire team getting a lot of love here. Basically the normal core multiplayer is gonna pretty much stay the same unless we get a new multiplayer map in there for weekend 2, like late game, potentially just for a day or two maybe, but it seems like everything's sort of staying the same in terms of that sort of stuff. In terms of changes that I'd like to see from weekend 1 moving into weekend 2, I'd definitely like to see the bushes in Cartel be lowered a fuck ton, because whoever's idea was to make the bushes the exact same height as the player models needs to have a genuine look at themselves in terms of map design as to why they thought that was a real thing, and whoever tested the map, why they thought that that was a good thing after testing the map as well. So I think Treyarch is looking to lower the bushes, and thank God that they're looking to lower the bushes because those things are ridiculous in terms of visibility, so hopefully that changes. I would love potentially to be seeing the dunes on Satellite be somewhat lowered. There are a lot of head glitching spots in Satellite right now, especially on that side of the map where all the sand dunes are. So it's potentially things to be added, things to be lowered, just so that there's not too many head glitching spots in the map. As well as that, obviously fixes to the unlimited slide glitch is something that I'd like to see changed as well, and potentially hopefully changes in terms of the servers as well, because for weekend 1 the servers were absolutely garbage. You saw so many times where you'd be killed around corners, every gunfight felt like a 50-50, the servers were rumored to be on 10 hertz, 20 hertz, some people even said 25 hertz. Like, that's genuinely not good enough for a mainline Call of Duty game, and certainly not good enough for the amount of money that we know that Activision has that they could then reinvest into giving us better servers. So hopefully servers get addressed in weekend 2 of the beta so that everything goes smoothly. And keep in mind as well, there are 2 new platforms being introduced here for weekend 2, so it's not even just PlayStation 4 anymore. So therefore the servers will have a larger load on them, because again, it is a cross-play beta, so the servers will have more players on it, a larger load, 3 different platforms to sort of juggle with. So that doesn't bode well with the current state of the Black Ops Cold War servers. Hopefully they do improve it with weekend 2 so that we get somewhat of a smooth experience, and so that every gunfight doesn't feel like a 50-50 on whether or not the server's in your favor to win the gunfight or not, because that happened too many times in weekend 1 of the open beta, and it was so frustrating during weekend 1. I hope that for weekend 2 they definitely improve that as well. In terms of overall weapon balancing and that sort of stuff as well, I don't see too much that I would necessarily want changed. I think that the nerfs to the Milano is warranted and definitely needed to happen, and it's going to be interesting to see how all the other weapons fare now that the Milano is not necessarily like the best gun in the game. I think that snipers at the moment are in a good place. I think that if they do revert back to the open alpha way of the snipers, won't necessarily make things better. If anything, it'll make things worse. I think snipers right now are in a good place. I think there's 74Us in a good place as well. It's not necessarily as overpowered as it once was in the open alpha, but now where they have it right now, it's a good place. So by nerfing the Milano, I think that Treyarch has found a decent balance in terms of weapons and how they perform stacked up against one each other. But potentially with these new guns we're getting with the new level cap, it could change things as well. In terms of score streaks, I think that score streaks need to have an overall refresh and an overhaul in terms of the way they work, and in terms of the amount it takes to get one. I think that in terms of objective game modes, again, I think doing objective tasks like capturing a flag or picking up a tag needs to have more score go towards your score streak. I think right now at the moment, even with kills, it takes way too long. Like an attack chopper, it takes like 15 kills to get one, and that is not necessarily normally the case. Usually an attack chopper is like a 7 or a 9 kill streak, not a 15. I feel a 15 is like a gunship or something like that. So I think that Treyarch needs to overall look at the current score streak system and its frailties and sort of adjust it based on the fact that objectives don't get enough score towards the score streaks, and as well as that, even when you do rack up kills and the kill multiplier and that sort of stuff, it still takes way too long to get even a basic attack helicopter. So overhauling the score streaks, fixing some elements on the maps, and overall gun balance, just overlooking it and seeing whether or not new metas pop up here and there. And then we're gonna have and servers as well, if the servers perform at the way that they should be for a AAA Call of Duty game. We could be looking at a very, very nice smooth weekend 2 for the open beta. Obviously, there's going to be things that we need to get fixed. Obviously, there's going to be things that we're going to look at and give constructive feedback to Treyarch about that. But that's what the beta is all about. So I'm looking forward to weekend 2. I hope you guys are too. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Comment down below. If you haven't played Black Ops Cold War yet, what is the one thing you're most excited to do on the game? And if you have played already, what is one thing that you would change from weekend 1 or even the open alpha moving into weekend 2 of the open beta? As I said at the start of the video, click subscribe if you're new here. We are very, very close to 1,000 subscribers, so any help in getting there would be greatly appreciated. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace out.
Can't you see the bandage on my face? Wanna light the city, that's my place. Don't you touch the money, that's my case. Ride around the city like you know the place. Killing everybody like you know the base. Stealing all the cars, then you go